and it says we're going live. It says we're going live. It says we're live.
We're live.
It says we're live.
Good deal.
You're not on yet.
Okay.
Sorry. No. It's it's because of the delay we're on. Sorry, it's funny. Yeah.
And my volume's okay, I guess.
No. Yeah, I can't hear you.
Oh,
And that was the part where I said, "Why don't you turn down the volume?"
Okay.
No, it'll be fine.
Okay.
It'll be fine.
I think this is
all right.
new. We're trying to figure things out, but
Yeah, I know.
okay.
So what's up, Kevin?
Just here trying to figure out what we're doing here.
That's the thing. Well, it's because I mean, just to kind of recap for anybody that happens to watch, because nobody's really watching it now, but in case anybody like actually watches it like after the fact, because when they see the recording, oh well, good Lord, stop that.
Gotta turn off your notifications.
I do. What happened is Kev here, my buddy, just decided to there he is. There you go. And just decided to stop by. And so I thought, well, while I've got somebody here, we'll test out the live cam, and
this is cool.
It's not bad. It's not a bad setup. I mean, ignore my junky wall over there. Excuse me, and ignore me blowing my nose. So that, because there's still some work that needs to be done to get things sort of up and running. But I mean, this is all right,
I
right?
think it's working. I mean, maybe some adjustments going forward.
Well, I mean, we got to figure out because I want the person who's sitting across from me to be able to actually see what I'm working on too, because that seems a little weird.
And it'd be nice too if you could, not only see it, but see it not upside down.
Yeah, I mean, because
I'm looking from across the table.
Yeah, because he's sitting across from me, and
But I mean, I can see it pretty good.
yeah, I mean, it's not bad. We get the gist of it.
So tell me about your comic here you're working on.
No, it's a secret and a surprise.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's actually something that I'm just kind of experimenting with a little bit, that I've wanted to do on Instagram for a while, which I want to do like sequential art, like comic panels, like the way I sort of think about it. Oh, that was really professional there.
I don't know what to do.
No. What was great is you were like, like it's gonna be a big loud. It's fine, man. It's
probably
fine.
would be actually.
Just you're totally good. Just cough. I mean, you can even move your mic around and just get comfortable. But so when you think about
like Jason Swift's on here.
Oh, is he on there, Swifty? Oh, I'm not even looking at oh, there he is. Draw
Jason.
It. What's up, Jason? Draw It. I'm assuming you mean the clown It. I wasn't all that happy with the second movie. Did you see the second one yet?
I have not. I'm kind of intimidated by the length of
and
the fact that the reviews
for good reason. Yeah, it's not super good. I mean, it is all right. I mean, it's worth watching. I'm not super critical on movies like that, but but yeah. But anyway, the Instagram drawing here. What I'm thinking is, what's kind of cool is if you think about like the Instagram carousel, right, where you can post like multiple pictures. To me, it almost works kind of like an old-fashioned comic strip, because it's got that. It's only, instead of seeing all the panels at once, you're seeing panel and then swipe, panel, swipe, panel, and then it also gives you the ability to do cool things like you can do 2 or 3 of those square images stitched together and have like a panorama. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like you can like pan and see the. So I think that like Instagram is a place to do short form comic stories.
No, I think it's a great idea.
I think it's kind of a fun. It's a fun idea. Jason, no, I didn't. I was using it as a general term. So just draw it, meaning
anything.
All right, you got it. Technically, I am drawing anything. But yeah, so that's kind of, and I'm just experimenting here. This is kind of a germ of a story that I've had in my head, and so I thought I would start drawing it. And what's cool is like I've just sort of created a template for myself, where it's like 4 square panels. So I created the template, and then I did the the usual process where it's like I did a bunch of pencil sketches, sort of laid everything out. and then started on that with inks. But also one of the things I'm doing that's a little different, and it's kind of a mixed success here, is instead of doing the kind of inking that I was doing on some of the other stuff, where it was like I'm taking a more technical pen. Like what I'm actually doing with these is I'm using a more of a brush. So it has a little bit more of like an old school comic feel to it. You know, it feels a little bit more, you know, a little more like thick and thin, sort of. Yeah, paintbrushy, right. I mean, which is also trickier. I mean, there's a reason why a lot of comic artists today tend to use like technical lines.
It kind of deals with the pressure of the pencil, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, like, and this particular brush that I'm using, and you know what? I honestly cannot remember if this is a stock brush or if it was in a brush like collection. But it's thick to thin, and it is really thick to thin. Like it goes. You can do really, really thin lines.
That's right.
Yeah, it's and it's really expressive. But the problem is it's also like the thing is with like all those old school comic guys like that would really use brushes mostly. I mean, you can. I mean, you have a lot of respect for them once you try to do this. Oh. It's not easy. Like it's way easier to use that sort of like technical pen look. Way easier. And it's
so in the old days they use like a brush pen, or they use actual brush.
Those are brush, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it was like you had it was like a camel hair brush usually, because I mean when they were doing this kind of stuff you didn't have synthetic brushes for the most part. So what they would have is you would have like your India ink, you know, your Harry Potter India ink, Harry Potter the ink bottle sitting on the, and then you'd have and what the two different things you would use is you would have a brush like the actual like a sable or a camel hair brush, and like different sizes, and then you would have a quill. So it was like you know, like the old school, the metal nibs, right? Yeah. And usually, like, especially when it's totally different today. Everybody works and it's all bananas today. Like people do a million different things, but it's like if you look at like Marvel Comics or DC Comics, but I mean, I know Marvel best. So I know like most of those artists. Like you look at somebody like John Romita, like from back in the old days, who's one of my favorite artists of all time. John Romita, I think, like his art through the like 60s and 70s and 80s, mostly the 70s, is I think it's some of the most beautiful comic book art there is. I mean, it's that dude, like you know Frank Frazetta, right? Everybody knows Frazetta, like the really extreme sort of dude. I put Romita up there with Frazetta. I mean, he's that good. Like,
I've heard of him before.
Do what?
I don't think I've heard of him before.
You may not have. Well, if you've heard of him, you've heard me like boast, you know, like talking about him and like, you know, boosting him up. But his son John Romita Jr. is pretty big now, and has been for a long time. But and I love him too. His stuff's great. Like John Romita Jr. He was the dude who drew Kick-Ass, like the comic Kick-Ass. That's recent. Yeah. I mean, he is. He's still pretty big today.
So with this brush you're using, is it kind of tricky doing those straight lines you see there at the buildings?
Well, with the straight lines there, I'm using the more technical pen, and it's so yeah. I mean, it's still kind of, you know, I mean, it's a little tricky, but with the benefit of doing that in Fresco is, of course, in Fresco you can hold the line. You know, if you hold it down, you can create a straight line. So that makes it a little easier. In that sense, it's almost easier to do that kind of stuff on the iPad. Up with
this, is this a story you have in your mind, or are you just kind of just winging it and going ahead?
I'm going to confess something. It's actually, it was initially going to be something else. Okay. And then, like, as I started thinking of the story, like, it sort of became its own thing. Like, I'll go ahead and I'll tell you, like, originally what I was going to do is I was going to do a short, like, maybe, like, there's 4 panels here, and then there was going to be another 4 panels that I was going to do that's just in this one post, this one carousel. So you'd swipe through 8 or 9 panels total. And then I was going to do, like, another one. So it would be, like, a total, like, 16 or maybe 16 or 17 or 18 panels total. And I was going to do just a little short sort of Star Trek story. Sort of like a kind of a throwback retro kind of Star Trek story. But after I started, because like all these characters are just my own characters, and like I was just drawing, like I was gonna do like I was gonna do that. There was a ship. They're rescuing this doctor from who's lost in time back on Earth in 2020, and that's the doctor, by the way. That this is the doctor.
So is he like a cat?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was going to be kind of the joke, because I wanted to.
In on the tail there.
I wanted to draw a Cadian, who's the and if you haven't heard, I'm not surprised. It's pretty hardcore Star Trek. It's like yeah, they're like cat people, right? Yeah.
The only reason I know that is because I played Star Trek Online. And
yeah. and it's like this dude. I wanted to do like a big sort of fluffy cat doctor. Like the doctor is a Cadian. Okay. And so he's been stuck on Earth for like five days or something like that.
Yeah, I love the cat's expression.
Yeah, I really wanted to do the cat's like Meow.
And his tail's wagging, like the man's
tail's
wagging.
And the cat like recognizes him as being kind of, I like that one. He's kind of
like, ooh.
He's like, what? Well, and I've got a separate layer that is text. So I've got
okay.
Yeah, so it's what's it like? Not too different, actually. A little dirtier. He's like, you're close, 5 meters, and you've got the sort of the spiky to indicate that it's coming over an intercom or coming over a communicator. And then he sees him, and what I like is there's this. He's speaking like weird Cadian language, so it's like blah, 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 blah. And then the cat's got his own little word bubble.
Cadian's
sound. Blah, 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 blah. Then the cat's got his own little word bubble, just mew.
Mm-hmm. So what's this guy hunting him down for?
Well, originally my little short story, I'm kind of giving it all away here, but nobody's going to watch it. So, the original little short story that I had in mind was this is set, after, this is like in the future of Star Trek. So it's maybe like 50 years or so after like Captain Picard's era. Right. So it's sort of future Star Trek. Okay. And what this is this is a Federation ship that's like designed for time travel. So, and it's like a little Federation ship. So this guy, like this doctor was, I mean, I know this sounds weird. Okay. You just buckle in, cause here we go. Cause like originally the story was, man, is, I don't know if you remember, but I had this idea for like a Star Trek story. And like I wanted to do like just a little personal Star Trek comic, and I had this story for a long time. And remember when we were on Google Plus was like a big deal at that point. Like, and I still think, oh God, let's not even get started, because that's a whole different. I'm convinced that if they hadn't been stupid, Google Plus could have been huge. It was really nice for what, like, people don't realize, like, it's kind of a punchline now that nobody went to, but I mean it was really cool for like the first year or so. Mm-hmm. And I remember, like, I posted all this stuff on Google Plus, and it got a lot of attention. And everybody was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" You remember, yeah? And it was like that. The story was, and this was back when Star Trek was kind of in no man's land, and there weren't any new series or anything like that. But do what? No, but so.
Sorry.
I can't think and draw at the same time, and I gotta be blowing my nose a lot, so everybody just chill. Sorry. Oh, excuse me. So anyway, yeah. So I came up with this idea for a story called Strange New Worlds, and it was Star Trek Strange New Worlds, mm-hmm. And the general thrust of the story was it was set about 50 years after the end of Star Trek Nemesis, the terrible movie that came out, the last movie with Picard and all those people. Well, the last movie, I guess, not counting the reboot stuff. Right. So it was called Strange New Worlds, and what it was the Federation, and really the whole galaxy, or most of a big chunk of the galaxy, was just coming out of a war with the Borg, and it was the biggest war the galaxy had ever seen. It's about 5 years out from that. And it was terrible. Like I came up with all these really cool ideas on like what happened to different like people in the Federation, and like different, like the big one for me was, and I thought it was such a cool story point, was the Klingon Empire. The Klingon Empire completely fell. Mm-hmm. And the reason it fell was, like basically the Borg were winning. The Borg were winning everywhere, and they were legitimately on track to almost completely take over the galaxy. So the Klingons, being the way the Klingons are, they decided they were going to go out in a blaze of glory. And so essentially they threw a big Hail Mary and they lost. And the result was like Kronos, like the Klingon homeworld, fell and was destroyed. Like the Borg just obliterated it when they realized that they weren't going to be able to, that it was almost like they did like a cost benefit analysis, and they're like, this is taking too much time, and they just destroyed the Klingon homeworld. Mm-hmm. So then all you have left is you just have like scattered Klingons around the galaxy. And then what I came up with was the Klingons toward the end of the war. Like what ended up happening, the way that the Federation ended up winning the war was they came up with a new technology that was that was almost undefeatable. Like, and the technology was, I called it Data's Door. It was a new kind of propulsion technology.
I remember you talking
Yeah,
about this.
yeah, and this new kind of propulsion technology could basically take a fleet of ships like across the galaxy. Mm-hmm. Like it was, I mean, not, which was more than even, because like the Borg, we're really nerding out here, I apologize, but like the Borg would even like they had like transwarp corridors and all this, so they could zoom around all these places. But and it was Data who did it. Like it was at that point, like Commander Data, mm-hmm. like not Lieutenant Commander, but Commander Data.
Be sure and clarify that.
Yeah, well, because there's a difference, because he went up in rank. Because in my story, when he uploaded, remember at the end of Nemesis, I don't know if you remember. Nobody remembers this.
I don't even think I watched.
Really? Yeah. Well, he died in Nemesis.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And but there was another android.
That was Tom Hardy, wasn't it? Back when he was a nobody.
Tom Hardy was, yeah. He was young Picard. Mm-hmm. He was like the clone Picard. It was terrible movie. But Data did manage to upload, in my story, Data managed to upload his mind into the other robot, that other android. And so that became Data, like later on. But anyway, where was I? But anyway, Data created this technology, and they called it Data's Door. And there's a big long name that I came up with for it, but everybody just calls it Data's Door. And what it allowed is all of these different areas of the whole galaxy, like all four quadrants, to unite. Mm. And they managed to take out the Borg. And but the cost of it was like huge. Like it was basically, I mean, like I think I had things like Beta Z was destroyed. Earth's moon was destroyed. Like, it was huge, big sort of things like that. And then my story sort of picked up like after about 5 years after the war was over. And the Federation was sort of just getting back into being explorers again. And at that point they'd gotten pretty good with time travel, but they had a lot of rules around like time travel. So that was where this sort of story came from here. But the actual sort of the premise of the story that I came up with, the Strange New World story that I came up with, was that they were beginning to use the Data's Door for exploration instead of it didn't have a war need anymore. But like the Federation had absorbed the Klingons, and this is what was cool, is the Klingons had a big rift in the remaining population. And the rift was some of the Klingons, because it was like their defeat by the hands of the Borg was so savage that it's like it broke their spirit. And so what ended up happening is the Klingon culture, like basically most Klingons began to embrace or Vulcan philosophy. So it's like you have Klingons that are learning to be Vulcans.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Well, and what was kind of cool about that, though, was like, you remember in Discovery, like all the Klingons were like bald?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what was funny about that was they actually did the same thing. And this was years before Discovery.
Copied you.
They did. They totally did. I'm going to sue. But no, they had like the Klingons had like shaved their heads, and I had them like, because of course being an artist, I did all this like concept art, and I had them, they wore these things that sort of mimicked, they were like jewelry, but they mimicked like pointed ears.
Do you still have some of that art?
Oh yeah, I've still got it somewhere. I'd have to dig it up.
Mm-hmm.
But the beginning of the story is it was the Starship Enterprise, but this Enterprise was a Storm Runner class galactic carrier. In other words, this was a starship that could travel with and like hold starships. So it's almost like it was a flying space dock. And they were using the Data's door to send it to the Andromeda Galaxy. And in the Andromeda Galaxy, everything was going to be really weird. Anyway, I could go on. But
Yeah, you could.
I could, believe me. But anyway, that is a very long explanation of where this came from. This is basically a little snapshot of part of that story.
So, are you you're gonna ink it, and then are you gonna color it too, or just leave it black and white?
No, I'm definitely gonna color it. Because I got to tell you, like based on this, I'm actually thinking I will probably re-ink this because I actually didn't kind of like where the inks were going. So I don't know.
So like for the text and stuff, do you put that into Photoshop? You bring this into Photoshop probably.
I'll bring it into Illustrator probably.
Illustrator,
Yeah.
okay. Because you can't do that on Fresco,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. That brings up a good. Excuse me, I'm burping a little bit of burping. That's a good question. No, I couldn't do it in Fresco. I might be able to do it in Photoshop on iPad.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, but the thing is, I still think it's easier to pull it into Illustrator because, like part of like adding the text and word bubbles and that sort of stuff is you're adding like, I mean, you have to design that pretty, you got to have a lot of control over it. And you could probably do it in Photoshop, but I'm so fast with Illustrator. I'm probably gonna do it in Illustrator instead. But yeah, so that's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's thrilling. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I liked a lot of the stuff you've been doing the past week.
Thanks, man.
Your comic stuff.
It's it's of course we talked about like it is super freaking time consuming. Oh, here Star Trek. Here we go.
Yeah.
Look at that Star Trek.
That was a cool one.
That is a Star Trek type person. That is a Klingon, obviously.
Yep. Klingon. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll tell you. Well, while we're sitting here, let's just do a sketch. Give me a character.
You're not gonna like it. Mandalorian.
Well, give me a comic book character, like a
Comic book character?
a Marvel comic book character.
Oh, okay.
Mandalorian.
I'm trying to think of something clever, but
It doesn't have to be
something you've not done recently, or a lot of. Could you do what's his face? Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler. I have done Nightcrawler recently though.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of freaking comics on the back there.
Okay. Yeah. Let's look at my comic wall. Let's see. I do Fred Hembeck. There we go. You'd never know who.
No idea.
Yeah. It's pretty. These days it's pretty obscure.
See those were there.
Let's see. Okay, so I've got
do like a Colossus or something.
X-Men, Star Wars, X-Men, Iron Man, Colossus. Let me see.
A lot of anatomy though, isn't it?
Well, not. That's really.
I'm just going on with your joke.
He has muscles that it's really hard. No. Let's see. Is somebody.
How about Cable, your favorite?
No. I've done Wolverine lately.
Do a villain. Do like a Green Goblin.
Let's do. Here we go. Let's do Doctor Doom.
Do it.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. All right. I'm gonna do a Kirby-ish, Kirby-like Doctor Doom. All right. This is always the weird part.
Maybe just do like his shoulders upwards,
Well, I won't do like a full. I'll do sort of something like.
so it doesn't take too long.
Oh, I'm sorry. You got
No,
someplace
I'm
to.
just-
No,
no, I'm
no. You
No,
got someplace
whenever
to
you-
be. It's all right.
Well,
No,
whenever-
fine.
I'm saying whenever you do the comic stuff,
I
remember-
bring you into my house. No, I'm just kidding. Go
What I'm
ahead.
saying is, though, is you know very well, like when you do the comic stuff, it takes a little longer.
Um,
Sometimes the show might be a little longer. Like
We're already at 30 minutes.
I know exactly, like 2 hours or something.
So yeah, I'll just do. I want to do a real Kirby. I mean, if you do Doctor Doom, nobody's ever done Doctor Doom the way Kirby. Doctor Doom. Ain't nobody never done no Doctor Doom the way Kirby do Doctor Doom.
You should talk like that all the time.
I should. I mean, Kirby, man, is just like I've been on a big Kirby kick lately, and it's. I mean,
So like,
that dude was just from another universe.
so how many times have you done Doctor Doom?
A lot. I've drawn Doctor
Okay,
Doom.
okay. Here's a good one. How many times have you done Batman?
God, there's just no. I mean, you got to go back to like when I was like 5.
Mm.
I mean, it's I've drawn me some Batman.
You know what? Today I was thinking at work, there's some people that are working there now, and they're like 22 years old. So they were like babies whenever I started at the job I'm at right now. It was weird.
Yeah, and you're not being like
No, I mean like
you're not being hyperbolic. You mean literally they were babies.
they were babies
Yeah.
like when I first started my job.
God, that's depressing. I'm an old man, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I start to notice it when I get up anymore, and I'm like,
Yeah, same here.
But Doctor Doom, you got to talk when you're doing this because you have to do all the voices and everything. I'm drawing Doctor Doom.
Now, is this the nip tuck Doctor Doom, or is this?
This is most assuredly not. Even though, you know what? Here's the thing. Like, no joke, I've got a soft spot for those movies. I don't care what people say. Yeah, they're not great. They're not perfect. But I've got a soft spot for those movies.
Whenever they changed Invisible Girl, what is her name? Jessica Alba.
Yeah.
For the second one, she was kind of scary because her contacts really bugged me.
I didn't mind. Like it was because honestly, I thought that all of their like their chemistry was all good. Like they were all good. It was a good cast.
Oh yeah.
And it was, you know what? And I even liked Michael Chiklis in the rubber suit, like for The Thing. Like it had a charm to it.
I mean, of course, I love Silver Surfer, Doug Jones. Of course.
Yeah, he's always cool.
And that was a good representation.
I
just wish the only thing is I just wish they actually had Galactus in there. Of course, that was early 2000s, and they're like, they're not going to understand that.
Yeah.
And then 10, 15 years later, they have Thanos and
a raccoon with a machine gun. Right. Yeah. And
a tree.
Because you remember like when like Batman and stuff came out, like 1989 Batman, like when all that stuff came out, it was like, oh well, you have to interpret it for audiences because they're not going to understand these weird things. And then like we said, and then like now it's like Rocket Raccoon. You had actually Howard the Duck.
Yeah. New person on the chat there.
We got a new person on the
Saying
chat.
hello.
DM Comic Art. Hello, DM Comic Art. How you doing? Welcome. Sorry, yeah, if we missed the chat here. And actually, yeah, if you would, dude, like watch the chat and like if I miss anything.
He's responding.
Well, what's he say?
Keep up the great streaming, and you'll be the best at whatever you want to do. And I honestly believe that. And this is for your friend too.
Thanks. Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
Sorry, I can't read.
What? I can't read. Now you notice, like with my Doctor Doom here, I like to do kind of I like to do like a really retro Doctor Doom. It's like, because again, it's getting back to like Kirby, man. Like it was like, it made him seem inhuman. Because like I remember a while back, like I was doing a version of Doctor Doom, and I was trying to figure out like what does my Doctor Doom look like? Like what is cool Doctor Doom to me? And so what I started thinking was like you start doing what you see a lot of artists do with Doctor Doom today, which is they make the armor sleeker, and it's like more cybernetic and it's cool. Yeah, well, and not even just that, but it's like they make it sort of like form fitting, and they're trying to make it like cool and modern. Yeah. And like I started to realize that like what makes him cool is almost like go the opposite direction. Like make it almost look like it's made out of cardboard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not literally cardboard, but yeah, like where it's like angular and it's like, it's not really
square.
Yeah.
Holes.
It's not really a good face. But you do that. Do what?
DM comic art. Sorry. I'm just an upcoming comic book artist at the age of 12, and I'm just looking for tips and things that I need for improvement from the artist community. Awesome.
Well, hey, the big thing is, man, is like just keep at it, keep drawing. I can tell you there's one book, if you're really interested in like drawing comics, the one book you got to get. Hang on just one second. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I got to hand it. Chris is, I mean, for somebody, a great example of just keep doing what you do and
eventually you'll. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm just saying though.
No. I appreciate it.
All
seriously.
the time. You draw all the time, a lot more than me, and so you're a lot better than.
It's you. This is the book. This is the book you want. I've had this book. I mean, since actually, I think I've probably had this book since I was about 12. And you can see it's. I don't know if you can tell, but it is well worn.
I want to see it.
Yeah. And it's called How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way by Stan Lee and Sal Buscema. You know what? You'd think after all this time I would know how to actually correctly pronounce his name. DM says working on muscle anatomy. Yeah, muscle anatomy is really important. It's really important. And I can, the one thing that I would suggest if you're going to work on like drawing people and drawing like anatomy is it's really tempting to look at, and it's important too to do this, but it's really tempting to like look at the comic book artists that you like and sort of copy what they're doing. I mean, everybody does that. I do that. I mean, everybody does that.
I know. Sometimes I'm looking at Instagram because I follow a lot of artists on Instagram, and I'll see something that's like, man, I want to draw that, but it's like you don't want to copy it exactly.
Well,
you want to copy his style.
And what becomes like really useful to you, like if you're really trying to learn how to draw figures, is to look at look at what other artists are doing, but figure out what that artist's shortcut is for doing different things. Because all artists, when you do this for long enough, you sort of develop shortcuts. Like, oh, this is kind of how I draw a deltoid muscle, a shoulder muscle. Or this is how I draw like you always see whenever you've got like, let me see, I'm sure I've got an example here somewhere. You'll always see, okay, here we go. Now this is kind of an extreme example because he's kind of huge. This is my super maxed out Batman. But you see, you've got like these muscles that are under his arm right there. Like those are the serratus muscles. And like the muscles of the torso get really complicated because like they fit together in sort of odd ways. But the what am I thinking here? I'm trying to think about how to compose myself. So look at how different artists do that. And like those serratus muscles, those muscles that are kind of on the side of the body right there, they're almost like fingers that are sort of coming down onto the torso. And different artists are going to approach that different ways. So look at how different artists are doing it. But then like look at an anatomy book or look at bodybuilders. That's what comic artists have done for years, is like look at bodybuilders where you can really see those muscles.
Yes, if you know the artist
ZHC. That's familiar, but I'm not sure. That sounds kind of familiar. And you want to be a commission artist. It's definitely, there's always people looking for art.
Sounds like he knows his muscles.
Muscles under the serratus. Yep, the external obliques. Yep. The obliques, the intercostals. And most of the time you're not actually going to draw them. Like what you're going to find is like I've kind of done with Batman here. I'm not really drawing all the muscles that are there. But it's like it becomes important for you to know the muscles that are there. Yep, and then you go to the back. It's latissimus dorsi. Yep, you got it. And all that stuff ends up like informing you a lot. But then you know what'll happen is like as you start to develop your style, you'll know what feels right for you to like embellish. Mm-hmm. So it's like in the case of my Batman here, like you look at his legs and his legs are nuts. You know, and it's because it's like there aren't really that many components, but it looks right based on how I draw them. Right. So you know what I'm saying? But yeah, oh yeah, I could talk. But that book, I'm telling you, that book, no joke. Have I ever shown you that before?
I think so.
Yeah.
There's a delay.
That's funny. Yeah, it's Stan Lee and John Buscema. You'd think 40 years, and I still don't know how to pronounce the guy's name. How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. It's absolute classic. I mean, it's the best. It's the best book out there like that.
Really long delay. He also asked, I don't know if you saw that or not. Where can I hit you up? To show my art or something. To show your art. Where can I hit you some of my art?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you're on Instagram. I'm on Instagram at Isobon. So you can hit me up there and show me some stuff. I actually am working on my website right now. But hey, stay tuned, and I'll eventually have my website up, and there'll be an email and everything that I'll be able to use right there. But hey, good luck. Seriously, like it's fun. There's never been like a better time to just do the kind of stuff you want to do with this. And at your age, I mean, you got a lot of time to develop.
You asked if you worked for Marvel.
I'm afraid not.
You could.
Well, thank you. I'm afraid I haven't. The thing is me in comics, the irony is I've done all this through the years, and I've done some work, not in comics, but I've done I'm a professional illustrator, but I've never worked for Marvel or DC. But because I've sort of come to this kind of late. Like I've drawn this kind of stuff all my life, but I'm sort of, my day job is as a graphic designer. This is almost me sort of getting back in touch with this part of myself.
You even said the other day, like, I mean, you got to keep it up too, because if you go like a week or a month or something without drawing, then you kind of get rusty.
It's weird how it happens too,
same
man.
Here with me.
Yeah, it's like I can be like trucking along, right? Like doing something, like one of those Batman drawings or something like that, and then I like sort of stop doing it, and I'll start working on, like, I'll have graphics work or something that I'll be working on, or I'll be working on the website for a few days, and then I come back to it, and I'm like,
yeah. Well,
I forgot how to draw Batman.
And if you're working with software too, of course, that's a huge thing too. It's like,
yeah,
if you don't use it, you lose it.
It's a truth.
I've been trying to learn 3D.
Oh, like Blender,
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, now it's been probably about a month or so since I've opened it up, and I have to start looking at tutorials again.
Yeah, it's
that's a lot. That's one of the most complicated software.
But are you finding, because of course I'm doing the same kind of thing, but are you finding that, like,
it doesn't take as long to,
like I get faster.
It's kind of like riding a bike. You kind of,
it's like
I still have to kind of like, okay, how do you navigate? How do you do this?
Right.
But I learn faster, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing too. Is like I'm picking it back up faster each time I come back to it.
He says, I'm trying to go with DC because when I'm 15, I can do a title page for about $250.
That's pretty cool. Go for it, man. Do it.
That's some cool foreshortening you got going on there.
Oh, that's very Kirby. Kirby was all about like that Kirby perspective. So you know what? I think just because why not? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna switch over to inks. Do it. So you never saw it?
I never saw it.
You saw the first one. Right.
I haven't seen the second one. I'm just kind of waiting until it comes on somewhere where I can stream it, I guess.
Where you're not paying for it.
Or I'm not paying for it, exactly.
Or not paying extra for it, I should say. Right.
Because it's so long, apparently, and it's not as good. So, from what I've heard. So.
It's not like it's bad.
Yeah.
But it just...
disappointment from the first one.
Well, I mean, the thing is like the first one was okay. I didn't think it was all that great.
Fantastic.
Right. Yeah. 4. The Fantastic Four. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's it was all right. I mean, I liked it. I mean, it's
did it scare you? Did it leave you awake at night?
It's there these days. You know. Okay, so tell me this, like, because there's not a lot of movies anymore that really scare me. So, like, what was the last movie you saw that you were like, that's a scary freaking movie?
Oh gosh. I mean, there's been movies where there's like parts of it that were like just disturbing or freaky.
And I don't mean like jump scares, but
okay,
something that was
not
like,
jump scares,
yeah, something that's like,
something like
what
was the name of that? With the Warren. What is that one?
Conjuring. Yeah,
those are good. More kind of jumpy scares. And was it Sinister or the one that's like where the demon face comes out behind?
See, no, that was
Insidious.
Yeah. I mean, those
like,
those
like
are
the creepier ones. To me, honestly, I mean, still one of the creepiest movies that I still don't like to watch is Event Horizon, even though the effects aren't quite, they don't quite hold up as much.
Like,
but
what is it about that movie? I'm the same way. That
Event
freaking
Horizon,
movie.
I mean, when I saw it at the theater, it was the most terrifying movie I'd ever seen. I remember driving home. We went with friends. I went with friends, and whenever we got in the car after the movie, we were like, there's like somebody in the back seat. You know, you just kind of get that creepy feeling. Part of me is like, I've always been disturbed by like faces without eyes, like eyeless people.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's like
disturbed me, that and headless things, but like
it was a horseman, headless.
Several...
Yes, we know. We told you. We all told you. No, you do not know because you were not there. It was a horseman, headless.
All
right. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, but there's like just the disturbing images and stuff in that movie too.
Yeah, I mean,
the videos.
There was just something really unsettling about that movie, and because what's interesting is I don't think it was like it didn't do that well, did it? I think it.
Well.
I don't think it did well at the time, but it like became a
it was
cult.
Popular, but it was kind of like just because it was unique. But I don't think it probably made a lot of money. But,
yeah. Yeah, I don't think it was.
And the effects the scariness of it. Like today, I can watch it and it's not like terrifying, but because the CGI isn't quite as seamless. But.
See, I mean, there's just something about that situation that was really scary to me.
Oh yeah.
Like it was.
The spaceship that went back.
I remember them like talking about the design, and how like the design was like, it was like they based it on like Notre Dame, like the church. So that's why it looks kind of gothic.
Yeah, like the engine room or something. All those spikes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like even like some of the scenes. Like I remember I was like, I don't know if it was like the what was it, like the like the infirmary or something. And like when you look at it, it looks like the sort of vaulted arches. And it looks like, and it's all metal, but it looks like it's like vaguely reminiscent of brick. It's really good design.
I think a lot of the stuff that really creeps me out, the movies, are anything that deals with like demonic kind of things, or
it's because you grew up with a Spotsville monster.
I grew up with a Spotsville monster. He was my neighbor. But just anything that's kind of ghostly, depending, like if it's an evil spirit, but it's done well.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it's just creepy stuff like that. Like, Paranormal Witness, that series had some creepy.
It had some really badly embellished things.
Oh yeah,
but it had some creepy.
The first and second season probably the best. When the later seasons, they were just trying to
it was like they were
like the demon that was coming out of the ceiling. It was like a rubber suit.
Yeah, we were talking about like Hellier, and Hellier. The first season was, I mean, it was good. It was interesting and it was good.
Yeah.
But not quite. I mean, it was fascinating,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't call it scary at any point.
Hellier is a documentary that's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, thank you, Wikipedia.
Yeah. Well, I'm just like, because people are like, what?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Ben Grundy.
You're like, and that would be, of course, that is a documentary that is on Amazon Prime.
Some people might want to watch this.
I know. I'm just kidding.
But what Ben Grundy, which is from
Mysterious Universe, yeah.
Kind of
shout out to Ben.
Summed it up well. He was talking about how the first season started out fast or whatever, but had like a slow burn.
Yeah,
and
that's
it
a
was
good way
like
to
kind of
look at
got
it.
boring after the first couple episodes.
Yeah,
it was only like 5 episodes first season.
Yeah.
The second season, it was kind of the opposite. The first couple episodes are a little slow, and then it just ramps up and it gets really interesting.
See, and I need to finish the second season.
Yeah, because I mean it's worth it, especially once you get to like third, fourth episode. It's just like, what the heck is going on?
You know why I stopped watching, don't you? Because I got shocked watching it.
Got shocked.
Yeah, it was. I stopped watching it because I'm sitting there and I was watching the first episode of the second season.
Oh, right.
And I was like, doing what? And then it was my the cover I did for Passport to Magonia.
Which is great, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have that book here?
I do. Do I? Right.
Well, look at that.
Yeah, look at that. So it was, but what was funny was, so I'm watching that show and, oh, raise it up. There you go. Up further. Right there. Okay, there you go. Yeah. So I was watching the show. Thank you, Vanna. And they cut to the scene where it was just big as life right there on the screen.
I can't believe I missed that too. Because I mean, it's so iconic. I can't believe I missed it whenever I was watching it myself.
And well, I mean, you know how it is. A lot of times when you're watching something on Netflix, like, you're watching, but you're also kind of looking away and doing something, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and because I think I was like, I was sitting on the couch drawing on my iPad, and and then saw that pop up, and I was like, holy cow, I need to get in touch with those guys, like Greg Newkirk and Dana Newkirk. So I got in touch with them and on Instagram, and I was.
You need to send them.
And that's what I told him. It was like I was like, holy cow, I just saw you've got my image on there. And he was like, oh man, I love that image. It's like the coolest like representation of like the whole point of that book. And so yeah, I told him I need to send them, and I need to do that because the truth is, man, is like I really need to get a shop going on the site.
DM Comic Art subscribed and liked the stream.
Oh, thanks, man.
He asked if you watch anime.
Do I watch anime? I've seen some stuff, but it's just I've never been too much of an anime person. I mean, I think it's cool, but it's just one more thing that there's so much stuff to watch.
A lot of people get really, almost obsessed with anime.
Oh, like your nephews are like really obsessed with it. Yeah.
I'm like, have you watched all the anime? He's like, no. They just keep putting them out.
It's like, dude, I pay taxes. I got stuff to do. I mean, and I've seen some stuff that's cool. Like I've watched a bunch of Attack on Titan. Yeah. I've seen One Punch Man. That's hilarious. That's awesome. If you ever watched that, One Punch Man, it's pretty good. It actually is pretty good. Like it's pretty cool.
Oh, comic book guys leaving.
Take it easy, man. Hey, good luck, and let me know next time you're on. And show me some drawing. Keep drawing. Draw some Spider-Man. But One Punch Man's actually pretty funny. Like it's really interesting.
I was watching Castlevania that's on Netflix or something.
Yeah.
It was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is funny because I freaking love that game.
I know.
I was obsessed with that game.
I was excited whenever I was like,
because it was. I think what was it like? My favorite one I think was Dracula's Curse.
very loud.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been to your apartment, man. Yours turns on and it's like Air Force One is landing in your.
It got a little better when they installed a new air conditioning system.
But yeah, man. Like I remember on NES, my favorite was Dracula's Curse. Just so freaking cool.
Yeah, there was hard games too, though.
What a terrible night to have a curse. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. I loved them, but yeah, they were hard games.
Yeah.
It's almost like not quite as hard as Mega Man, but
Mega Man was freaking hard,
Mega
man.
Which is
like,
weird because I remember, like, there was one Mega Man. I don't know if it was like 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. But I remember when I was a kid, I think I don't know if I beat it, but I came really close to beating it. It's like,
I know I beat.
But now playing, like, if I play it today, it's like, how in the heck I can't even beat one of these guys.
I know I think it's because when you get past a certain age and you just lose the ability.
Yeah, and maybe part of it was the magic of the NES controller. I mean, there's something about that NES. Controller.
There was, and you can't replicate it. Like because I've tried. I've bought a lot of controllers that are like clones and knockoffs, and they just do not work.
No.
I mean, it's just not the same. But like Mega Man, I want to say it was like Mega Man 2 was the only one I ever finished.
Yeah, that might have been the one I was.
And then I'm trying to think if there. I remember it took me and both of my brothers. Like, it took me and both of my brothers like months to what was that?
I just realized something.
Oh no.
I left my garage door open. But
oops. Oh well, all your stuff's gone. Sorry.
Yeah.
Fortunately, you're just up the street.
My car's in there, so surely no one's going to go in there. It's funny.
That's so funny, and you're
At
just
least
like,
I didn't leave my burner on, like I've done before.
Oh, that was hilarious, man. Like, I mean, it wasn't hilarious at the time, but it's pretty freaking funny now.
That's terrifying. The worst one.
Because what was it? Was it me or was it Timmy or Tina or somebody was like, Kevin, you have fire trucks in front of you?
Yeah, I was boiling eggs. And I have a gas stove. I was boiling eggs, and then I had one of my best friends she a long time ago moved to St. Louis, but she came into town, and she showed up, and I was just so excited to see her. I said, let's go get something to eat. So we left with the damn thing boiling eggs on the stove. And so I'm sitting there, and we were almost done eating, and all of a sudden I get a text from my neighbor down there, couple houses down. He's like, Kevin, are you home? And I was like, no. He said, man, you got to get home now because there are a bunch of fire trucks and smoke coming out from your place. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like screamed in the middle of the restaurant. And what worried me, what's funny is that what bothered me the most, I mean, yeah, it was horrible. My place might be on fire. But what bothered me the most is I have a cat.
Your cat, man.
And that's all I could think of is my cat's at home. And of course, I mean, there's nothing I could do. I was about 5 or 10 minutes away, and we were waiting for our check and everything. So I had to get my check, and then we raced home, and thankfully it was just a bunch of smoke.
Yeah. But that was hilarious. So, like after the fact, I just remember me and Timmy were like, dude, that was great.
My poor cat, though, because they had a beat down. Thankfully, my neighbor was home.
Your cat never forgave you.
My direct neighbor was home, and they smelt smoke and heard the fire alarm alarm going off at my place, and they were beating on the door. Of course, I wasn't there, and they were panicking, so they dialed 911, and the fire department came and everything. But they had to kick down the damn front door.
That was so
So of course, that sucked. And so they kind of broke that door and broke the frame around it. But anyway, my poor cat was like, "Where is he?" And finally, like after like 5 or 10 minutes.
Did you actually say that?
Yeah. Well, finally, after 5 or 10 minutes, I found him like plastered under my bedside table. Somehow he got under there. And
some say he's still there to this day.
Some do.
And I
that was an adventure.
I see Countdown. Speaking of my brother, Countdown Louisville.
What took us months?
Took us months? When we it was The Adventure of Link, Zelda 2. Yeah, The Adventure of Link, Zelda 2. I remember. Yeah, it took a long time because there's a lot of like hidden.
Zelda was hard because
Zelda was, but I never liked Zelda nearly as much as I liked Zelda 2.
Yeah,
like the because remember it was in
they
the
were both like you take you forever to.
Yeah, they did, but it was like with that one, it was like you remember it had the gold cartridge. You remember it was the gold, and that was what that always stood out, and like you always could recognize it. I always wondered why you didn't have other games that. I think that was like the only game I ever knew where they did a weird cartridge.
We went down last Saturday to Nashville to this place called McKay's Books, and it was like this flashback to the 90s and late 80s. It was this place where they sold used books and video games, movies, DVDs, things like that, and they had old NES cartridges. I didn't see the console anywhere, which I mean, I guess they sell that sometimes, but I can't believe that an NES console still works today.
But well, it's unless I'm. It took you months. Took me a couple. Yeah, it's because you probably played my saved game. That's why.
That's funny.
But it seems like to me that if I remember right, there was that like most of the cartridges fail now. I mean, is that wrong?
I'm sure they do.
And it's because there's something like something about the magnetic medium like has a timeline, like a lifespan.
Oh, that probably makes sense. Yeah. Your brother said I got an emulator and have a new
gold cartridge of Zelda. Oh, that's right. The funny thing is about that emulator. The emulator that he's talking about is.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
No, you think you do,
okay.
but this is a different story.
Okay.
What it was it was like that Christmas. I was gonna make both of my brothers emulators, Nintendo emulators,
that, yeah.
totally legally. And then but it turned out that like Greg had already bought one of the emulators that was on the market.
Right. I remember because I downloaded, legally.
Totally legally. You mean your friend
yes,
Schmevin?
I have, but I had an emulator as well.
Right.
Like all the freaking games, basically.
There's a really good emulator for Mac.
All the games, and anyway, I put them on the Raspberry Pi that I made, and like right around then, my friend Chris, the other friend Chris, got the one that you buy, and he's like, "Oh man, I've got this has 16 games on it." Like
and you're like,
and I was like, "Ha ha!" It's got a Raspberry Pi.
It's like, what do you mean you've got them all? You don't understand. I have them all.
Yeah.
I have games you've never heard of. I have no idea if I'm doing the anatomy right here. I'm probably not. I'm too close to it, so I can't see. I'm terrible. I suck. Haven't been able to get through the lava cave with flame eyeballs. Wait, the lava cave?
I think I remember that.
I don't remember that.
Seems familiar.
Are you talking about the dungeon?
Ooh, it's hot here.
Yeah, it gets warm up here. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that is. The lava cave.
We're closing in on an hour, aren't we?
We are actually, right at an hour. Let's wrap it up here. Let's wrap it up here in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Let me just finish in some hands.
So I'm curious.
Yeah.
You mentioned Contra. Does the emulator have the password, or what is it? Yeah, the code.
That's a good question.
Up, down, A, B.
And I'm trying. It's been a while since I've played, and I can't remember.
I know it doesn't.
I mean, it's been a while since my friend played.
I don't think it works.
Who's also named Chris and also an artist. I want to say it does work on.
Not the one that I have.
But the emulator you're talking about, you built it with a Raspberry Pi, right?
Yeah.
So you're using the RetroPie emulator.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I'm talking about is my friend has a Mac, an emulator from Mac called it's called Emu, and
Emu.
Yeah, Emu, and get it, emulator, Emu.
Ooh.
Oh, clever. But
Your brother hasn't tried it.
Haven't tried it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it works or not. I want to say on Emu, the up, down, left, right, BA start works, because there's two Konami codes. The first one, the one that works at Contra and works in a few other games is up, down, left, right, BA start.
Mm-hmm.
which a lot of times when you see it written out, like I saw this on a T-shirt once, and I wanted to slap the T-shirt off somebody because it had up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A, select, start, and it's not select. Yeah. But you see that a lot. It's like people that have never used the code, but they know the code, right? They just can't flibbledy flubbledy with your codes. No, so yeah, so but then I'm trying to think of what the other Konami code is. It's like,
is it for the second one?
I don't see. That's what I'm trying to remember, but I know there's two. Like the first Contra is up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A, start.
I remember there was a second one. I don't think I ever used it because I don't think I ever had the game that would go to.
Yeah, and but maybe it is the second one. Maybe it is Contra 2.
Probably so,
which is harder.
They're impossible to play without.
If you don't have the code, you can't. I mean, you can. I mean,
but you can't
come to think of it, I do remember I did finish it without using the codes.
What?
Dude, I was what 15.
I know,
that's all I did.
It was so hard.
All I did was sit there and.
It was so dang hard.
Does the code give you unlimited plays, or you say R advance, but I'm sure you mean or advance you do plays. No, the code just gives you unlimited. It gives you unlimited ammo and unlimited lives. Is that right?
Lives, I think.
Is it just unlimited lives? It's just unlimited lives. That's right, because you don't have ammo. I'm thinking of something different. Yeah. So yeah,
but
yeah.
But
so it gives
you don't go to the very beginning. You die, and you end up.
You die, and you just got to start over, or start at that level.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or no, what? Or is it?
That was I was so proud of myself. That was the very first game I ever beat, Contra.
Because it was a chore, dude.
It really was. I'll never forget though, because I got to the end and the credits start rolling, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I know. And like it's almost like you expect more out of those games, because I remember like you'd finish it and you'd be like, because like the credits start to roll and you're like, do something else.
Yeah, you're like, is this it?
Do something else. And you're just like poking it. Come on, do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, man, like God, I just remember it was a huge deal to finish one of those games.
Even like the first Mario was harder than part 2 and 3. Like Super Mario Brothers, to me, I think it's just because it was.
No, wait, which one did you say is harder?
Super Mario Brothers, like.
Oh, like the. No, you're talking about. Yeah, you're talking about the first one. Yeah, right. Yeah, it was hard.
It was hard. It was harder than part 2 and 3 because.
No,
to me, it was because of the limitations of control.
Super Mario 2 was, I think, almost too easy.
Yeah.
It was like you could get through it pretty quick.
Yeah.
I made a line I didn't mean to make. Oh Lord.
Oh, the emulator has a great Galaga.
Galaga. That man.
Galaga. You got a little Galaga on your shoe there.
You got some. Oh, excuse me. I got a little Galaga.
Oh, your brother's leaving.
Oh, he's leaving. Hey, take it easy, man. Hey, give me a call tomorrow if you want. I'll be around.
You probably need to stop too. I'm hungry.
Oh, you're hungry.
My garage is open.
God, that's right. And your garage is open and your cat's gotten out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I think we'll go ahead and jump off here. It's not a bad stopping point anyway. But thanks to Mr. Kevin for hanging out with me. Kevin, what's your Instagram? You don't even know. Oh my God. Oh,
I don't tell people.
Oh,
okay,
Lord.
Okay, no. I have 2 Instagrams. One is my art, which is Kevin Howard Art. Shut up. And then the other one's more like, my personal kind of photos, and it's mostly photos.
It's photos.
It's, I do a lot of natural nature photos.
And he's really good at it, because by the way, we both used to be park rangers.
That's right. It's just Lacertus, Lacertus.
Tell them what that is.
It's Latin.
That's right.
For a creature.
You don't know? No, it's a bat. Go ahead, right? Sorry, because again, we were both cave guides at Mammoth Cave National Park, so we got that's how we know each other.
Like 40 years ago.
Yeah, 38 decades ago.
But anyway, yeah, Lacertus, and then my other one is the art one, which is just Kevin Howard Art. Yay. So nobody will follow me, but you can.
I like how you have to look up your own Instagram.
Well, of course, I'm not.
You're like, because you know what I'm going to do is, because I've got my Instagram up here on the screen, and what I'm going to do, I'll do the same as like for you and Timmy, I'll make.
Well, I've got like
so when you're here,
15 trillion different passwords.
Yeah, that's the truth, man.
And usernames, so it's hard to remember.
And it's and I'm pretty paranoid about that kind of stuff, so I make mine pretty difficult and like change them fairly frequently. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean it's a nightmare.
Those evil people.
All those
get your
people.
stuff.
Well, let me tell you, once you've had your identity stolen.
Oh no, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm out.
All right, sir. Well, I guess well, hold up,
See ya. Bye.
hold up.
Peace.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So I have no idea what this is gonna. This is a very impromptu one, but I think maybe we need to do more like these,
Oh,
like
yeah,
where it's just
I'm enjoying it.
where it's just like it's fun, isn't it? To like to just sit and talk
I
about
like
stuff.
it.
And here, what I want to do is I want to talk about like, because I mean we're both into like really weird stuff. We both like weird stuff like mysterious. What? Doing whatever you're saying. We're keeping this family friendly now. So we can definitely talk about like the cool, like I want to talk about UFOs and Bigfoot and just weird things, cryptids, Spotsville monster. We'll talk about that next time.
Yeah.
And then also like talk about things like movies, and because God knows I can complain about some movies.
Yeah, you know. I mean,
We'll talk about Star Wars and Star Trek.
You gotta be careful though, because
My goodness. Oh no!
Talk.
Well, I start talking like that, then I can't control my accent. I'm from Kentucky. No, but anyway, so yeah, man. So it's been fun. We've been at it for about an hour and 5 minutes. It seems like a good starting point. We have Doctor Doom going on there.
Well, I gotta get home because
You got to get home
get
and
some dinner.
see. I'm stalling you so that they can steal your stuff. That's how this is.
No.
Okay, everybody. Well, we're heading out. So.
All right, bye.